there, what's poppin'? What's good? Back at it again with Sada motherfucking E, and actually I'm doing something a little different. Let's do like a little story time. Let's get straight into the story. This topic is a little supernatural. I've dealt with a few supernatural events. I know some people don't like to believe in if there's another world out there, or if there's like spirits around. You know, of course everyone has different beliefs, everyone has different opinions about, you know, my topic here, but you know, this is just something that happened to me, something I experienced, and I just wanted to share that experience with you guys. Yeah. So I was 15 at the time, and mind this is the first time I've ever experienced this, so I honestly I didn't know what to expect. It just got me off guard. Let me tell you a little backstory of it, what happened first before I get into details, just so you can get an idea what's going on. So I was 15 at the time, and I was living with my grandma, my aunt and her husband, and it was a big house and our whole family lived together. So the way it works, it's two houses connected in one, in a way. So there's one house here. I'll use my notebook. So let's say this is the house here, and then this is the side, like a sidewalk, and then on this side is the other house. Pretty much it was as a garage, but we turned it into like another few bedrooms. So that's the one I was staying at, the garage, with my grandma, my uncle, and then my aunt was on the other house on the other side, right across, with her husband, and you know the whole shebang. So yeah, so this time it was, I was very religious. I still strongly believe in God. I do believe in His miracles. And at the time I was very, you know, religious. Like, I went to church, and I would join these dances, where, I don't know if you've ever seen, but you know, just dances, you practice dancing, and like to Christian songs. That's what I did. So anyways, I went, and at this time, this was like around New Year's, because it was a, how would I say it, like un retiro. I don't know how I would say it in English, but un retiro. And what it basically means is you're there from 7 p.m. to, I'm gonna say 1 a.m. I remember this time. Just, you know, singing and praying and just being grateful for another day, another year. Just like I mentioned, it was New Year's. So, you know, I went with my aunt, my uncle, and I had a great time. You know, there was a lot of crying, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of peace that I felt. I felt really happy. You know, I always feel happy when I have a close relationship with God. I have a close relationship with Him, but it's just personal to me. So I gotta burp. So anyways, so the retiro was finished, and my aunt and my uncle and I were driving back home. So, not to mention, this was in Panorama City. I was living in Pacoima at the time, so it was like a 15-minute drive, and I felt normal. I felt good. I felt peaceful, and waiting to get home. And so we got home, and as soon as I got out the car, you know, I was just like, okay. I was just like, okay, like, I feel something strange, but nothing like out of the ordinary, you know. It's just like, it's probably late, I'm tired, just want to go to bed, okay? So we go inside, and the way this works is it's a big wooden fence, I should say, and they were probably like 6-7 feet high, and to open it, you really have to use force. It's not like a slide or not. No, it's like a really old fence, and very thick too. Oh, she thick. Anyways, it was thick, and so to get in, you have to push it. Sometimes it's locked, so you have to put your hand on the other side and just like unlock. And so yeah, so we got in. Reason why I'm saying about the door is because it's gonna come later on in the story. And so, you know, we go in, and when it opens, it always creaks just because it's old. And yeah, so we go in, and then she's like, you know, good night, you know, I'll see you tomorrow, and you know, we say our good nights and everything. So they go their separate way, I go to my direction. And I go inside and I'm like, damn, I have to pee. Like, hasn't that ever happened to you? Like, you just forget you had to pee. I had been wanting to go, but I don't know. So I was like, you know what, I should go before I go to bed. And at this time, they were already like in bed. They were already, it was 15 minutes had passed because I was changing and everything. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. And this has never happened to me. I'm just like, I never go to the bathroom really late. But this time, this exception was because I got home late with my aunt. And so to go to the bathroom, it's in their house, like their area. So I had to, you know, walk across outside to get to the other house. So that's what I did. And as I'm walking, there's the wooden door. And at the time, there was this guy living there. He's like a family friend that my family knew since way back. So he had nowhere else to stay. So what he would do, he would just sleep around like in the sofa, or like he'll sleep in the backyard, you know. That was his situation. And I'm walking, and you know, I feel weird. Like, I feel like this like a cold feeling. And I'm like, okay. So I started like, you know, I was praying in my mind. You know, when you talk, you have like this little voice in your head. Well, I was praying in my head like, okay, you know, everything's gonna be okay. Like, it's just windy. I was just trying to convince myself everything was gonna be okay. So as I'm walking, the wooden door decides to open, and it's like slowly opening, and I'm like staring at it. Like, I'm literally standing and staring at this wooden door, and it's moving, and I'm like literally like 5 seconds locked looking. And I was like, okay, in my head I was like, okay, it's probably that guy, like the guy I mentioned. And so I didn't think too much of it, so I kept about my day. I just kept going. I was like, okay. So I reached the kitchen door. It's the door, the main entrance door, and I open it, and then the door, the wooden door, it makes this loud noise, and it boom, slams. As soon as I'm in the kitchen, slams. Even talking about it, I get all shaky because it was just a very like scary. And so as I'm walking, like in the kitchen, there's a big window, so you'll get to see from an angle. You get to see the wooden door too. And okay, so it shuts closed, and I'm walking, and then for some reason, something inside me tells me, Sarai, whatever you do, don't look to the side, which is the window. So, and I was like, okay. You know how like when you tell that to yourself, but you just so curious to see like what's there. And it was dark, not to mention. I didn't want to turn on the lights just because in the living room of that house, you know, my cousin's husband was staying there at the time. So I didn't want to wake anybody up. I just wanted to go do my business, come back and go to sleep, you know? So I'm like, okay. And what do? I look to the side. So I look, and immediately like there's this face. I can't even say a face, like I can't even describe it just because of how horrible it looked. It looked straight at me. I looked straight at it, and I literally immediately started crying. You know, it was just unexplainable. Like till this day I can't describe the face. It was just very boo-boo. It wasn't cute. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't cute. So anyways, yeah, so I started crying. Everybody's like afraid. Like obviously this is 1:30 in the morning, let's say 1:30. Everybody's like freaking out, like what happened, you know? And because I was crying hysterically, like, you know, like I don't know if you've ever gone through that, but when you experience something like that, like your emotions just take over, obviously, because fuck. And then I started crying, whatever, and my tia, like, she comes out rushing, you know, because she, in her mind, she thought that my cousin's husband had done something to me, because, I don't know, I guess he was sleeping there, but he's a very chill guy, so she comes rushing out. She's like, hey, are you okay? I was like, I really stayed stuck there. I run to her room, and they start praying for me. They're like, what did you see? Like, what's going on? I couldn't talk. I'm so paranoid. Talking about this story gets me so jittery, but the water just moved and like touched my butt, and I'm like, bruh. Anyways, back to the story. So I go inside, and she was telling me to calm down. She's like, relax, just we're gonna pray for you. And he prayed for me. When I say he, is my Tia's husband. So they're praying for me, and they're like, everything's gonna be okay. Like, you know, there's always gonna be something that tries to knock you down from your faith. You know, just don't give up, and just telling me all this so I can calm down. And like within like 10-15 minutes, I stopped crying, and I was like, okay, I think I'm good. And she's like, do you still have to go to the bathroom? Like, yeah. So she walks me to the bathroom, you know, and she's still like guarding me, you know, just because I'm like, I'm shook, bro. I'm shook, sis. I'm shook. So I go do my business. I come back out, and I'm like, okay, everything's good. And she walks me to, you know, to my place, the garage where I was staying with my grandma and my uncle. And but yeah, that was like the most craziest, not the most, because I do have other paranormal experiences that I've experienced, but I can leave that for another time, another story time. But till this day, I can't describe that face. I can say that the colors were I don't know, I want to say like it was like a red, orangey figure. I don't know. I mean, I know it sounds dumb and like, sorry, relax, it was just your mind. Girl, no. Okay? When I tell you that it was some fucking freaky shit, it was some freaky shit. Ay. No, but yeah, it was crazy. But till this day, it's marked, and I'm like, okay, that was not fun, but it was quite an experience. I think it did make me a little stronger, and just like, what's up, like, can't faze me. I mean, even though I cried like a little wimp, but hey, what else are you supposed to do like in those situations? But if you like these, you know, let me know, and I would love to share more story times with you. Yeah, so ooh, girl. With that being said, peace out. Have a great week. Get it poppin'.
Poppy came to party, grab somebody, work your body.
Sing it with me, sister. Sing it with me. Okay, enough of that. Peace out.